In today's video, we're going to get a little spiritually woohoo and talk about the concept of reincarnation. Now, is reincarnation really that woohoo? In actuality, it's not. While it certainly can't be confirmed and it's far from absolute, there is a growing body of scientific evidence that supports the possibility of reincarnation and past lives being real. Dr. Brian Weiss, who graduated from Yale Medical School, was a hypnotherapist who accidentally regressed one of his patients into past lives. Ultimately, he was able to confirm elements of what she was relaying in these regressions through public records as being true. Now, her anxiety and depression was actually able to be cured. It's something that was not able to happen through past life regression therapy. And Dr. Brian Weiss has gone on to regress hundreds, if not thousands, of different patients. Now, if you don't believe in past life regressions, Dr. Ian Stevenson, who is the chair of the Department of Psychiatry at University of Virginia, has collected over 2,500 case studies of young children who are able to recall past lives. These were children that were basically saying that they remember dying in a certain battle or war, or even grew up in some small village, and through public records it was able to be confirmed. These children would relay very specific information to their parents or Dr. Stevenson, right? And there were also birthmarks that aligned with being shot in that place in the body, or the name that they were being relayed. Why would children remember past lives? Well, from the ages of 0 to 7, we exist in a theta brainwave state, which means that we have greater access to the subconscious mind. It is likely possible that children today are coming in at higher levels of consciousness, and with being in that theta brainwave state, are able to retrieve very specific information from past lives. And with internet and public records, we are now able to go back and confirm the reality and the truth that they are relaying very real information. Also, we have Dr. Michael Newton, who wrote the book Journey of Souls. Now, Dr. Michael Newton was actually thank you to my dog. Dr. Michael Newton was formerly in the military and became a hypnotherapist as well. He actually regressed patients back into the space in between lives, okay? And so he was able to actually almost create a framework or a blueprint through hundreds of different patients and case studies of what it looked like when a patient had passed on, and the process that they went through after leaving the physical vessel, right? And what they would go through before they reincarnated. And all the information that these patients were relaying to him were very consistent with one another. So then what is the reincarnation process? How does this even exist? Well, we have to accept the fact that there is a multidimensional nature to our reality, right? And there is much more that goes on beyond what we can perceive with the five senses, okay? We have energetic atomic bodies around our physical bodies. Our physical bodies are actually more so a manifestation of what is going on within our energetic bodies, right? And so when our physical bodies pass on, right, they dematerialize, but the energetic bodies do not. In a sense, the energetic bodies leave this third dimensional plane of reality and go around to the fourth or fifth dimensional plane from what was being relayed to Dr. Michael Newton and others. When we enter into this higher dimensional plane, whether it's through what was relayed to different hypnotherapists or what others who've gone through near-death experiences have relayed, you're often met by former family members or loved ones who have also passed on. You can also meet what people term as guides, or beings from other dimensional realms who oversee the course and direction of your life. You can also meet your higher self. It's like this welcoming and this greeting to kind of reorient your soul and your energetic self to the fact that you have left the third dimensional plane of reality and have moved on. Afterwards, you go into what is called a life review. Now, a life review is basically this thing where you go in and experience your life from everyone else's point of view. So if you cause a lot of damage and harm to others, right, you will experience the damage and harm that they had to go through. In a sense, if you created hell within your life to others, you're going to have to experience that hell in a sense, right? So you're basically you're basically going through a replay of your life, understanding the lessons learned, understanding the different decisions you make, how these decisions could have branched off in different directions, right? This is basically a whole learning experience. After the life review is over, you apparently meet up with what is called your soul group. So what happens is that Oftentimes when we incarnate into this plane of reality, we tend to incarnate with the same group of souls. These tend to be souls that have similar life lessons, similar life purpose, and are on a similar energetic vibration. In Dr. Michael Newton's book, all his patients were basically relaying in the regressed state that different soul tribes would have different energetic colors, right? Meaning that the higher the vibration, the more the tint would become bluish purple, and that these groups of souls would kind of hang out, work together, learn together. Essentially, when we leave this plane of reality, we're going back to our own spiritual school, right? And we have our own class and grade. And there is much more to do in these planes of reality. In a fifth dimensional plane of reality, apparently you can just kind of manifest what you want in your environment purely with thought and intention. So, after we're done hanging out, going to school, chilling with our soul tribe, it's time to go back, right? There is a pre-life planning phase where we decide a certain point in time and space that we want to visit, a certain person's vessel that we want to take on, the people that we want to experience this life with, to learn certain lessons, to have certain experiences, right? And to release our karmic baggage. What basically happens is, as souls, we come into this plane of reality, and through our choices, we can accumulate karma. This karma is heavy, it's dense. And what we want to do is, when we go into another life, we want to set ourselves up with a life in which we can bring up this karma, this dense karma, which could be feelings of shame, guilt, right? So that they can arise, we can feel it, and we can release it. Basically, if there were any unprocessed lessons that we weren't able to kind of complete, right, or learn from in our previous life, we're going to have to re-experience it in the next life. So, why is this important? How does this affect our present day life? Well, past lives can come in and very much affect our present life and our present day environment. And if we don't have this awareness of how it can affect, we can be very confused. So what are some signs, what are some dynamics that past lives can infiltrate our current present day life? Well, there are past life romantic relationships, right? And so what this means is that you can actually run into someone for the first time. It's called love at first sight, but it more so is probably love at remembering, okay? You meet someone and all of a sudden you feel this intensely deep connection, these deep feelings of unconditional love. You can look into this person's eyes and feel like you've known them for a very long time that transcends this present day life. This can be very confusing because you could be in a very happy, healthy, loving relationship, and then you find yourself having these intense romantic feelings towards someone else. It's important to be aware of this dynamic because it's not that you're a bad person or there might be issues in your present relationship. It's you are meeting someone that you have a past with, right? You just might not necessarily be able to remember. It's important to distinguish past life relationships versus trauma bonds. Trauma bonds will feel like a very intense connection, a very intense high, like it's an emotional high, it's a very intense attraction. Past life relationships are going to feel a lot more deep. It's like deeply embedded in the soul, right? It's just more so I look at this person and I just want what's best for them no matter what, right? We also have past life trauma, okay? So unprocessed traumas from past lives can infiltrate our present life, right? And really give us like heightened fears, worries, anxieties that are inexplicable, right? Relative to certain events, people, places, right? Someone could have a very insane fear of flying. I have an insane fear of just bridges, right? And I don't want to go into when I discovered why, but it's just this inexplicable fear and worry relative to something, okay? And basically the mind, the conscious mind is still carrying on to those imprints from the past life, right? And still believes that these things are being carried out in the present day life. It's important to notice that there's not necessarily nothing wrong with you. When you have a heightened reaction to something, right, that you can't explain, it might be due to past life imprint and experience. We also have past life lessons. If you've ever found yourself kind of repeating the same things over and over again, calling the same type of person into your life over and over again, having to feel like you're running into the same life event, right, on repeat, You may be running into a life lesson experience that you were not able to kind of grow from throughout your past lives. This could be processing shame in a healthy manner, right? This could be learning the concept of forgiveness and forgiving others who've wronged you. This could be a fear of persecution. This could be not being able to handle power right? Or the ego getting in the way. Essentially, we are given the experiences again and again until we learn the lesson. The universe, for whatever reason, loves re-exposure therapy, loves to re-traumatize us. So if you're running into the same themes and the same problems over and over again, it might be good to understand that this is something that you weren't able to complete in a previous life. There's also past life skills and gifts. We can come into our lives, right, and choose to come into our lives with abilities and skills learned that transcend this lifetime. So think about child prodigies, right? Think about these virtuosos, right? These children that come in from 3, 4, 5 years old don't even really have the genetic makeup to be this talented, right? It doesn't necessarily even run in the family. And just from day one, they have this unique, amazing ability and gift. If you find yourself drawn to a certain field of work, right, that you feel very naturally acclimated to and talented at, when there's really no inexplicable reason, no one in your family does it, right? It may be because you're waking up abilities and skills from lives that transcend this one. There's also the past life controller-oppressor dynamic. A lot of times, we will choose to take on this victim-perpetrator dynamic, right, within certain lives. So someone will be very controlling and oppressive and we could be the victim, or vice versa. So if you find someone who is just barreling you down, beating you down all the time, and you can't get around them or above them, right? It could be a boss typically, or a family member. I was a family. It could be that this is a soul that you are replaying this dynamic with until the lessons are learned about what it's like to kind of embody this victim-perpetrator dynamic. Also, there's past life karmic debt. Sometimes we will be slingshot to a person over and over and over again until we complete something with them, right? We may have been responsible for that person's death, and now we have to make sure that we're their caretaker through an illness, or we find them the right mental health care or physical health care, right? It could be that someone gave us a lot of money in a past life that really helped us or gave us some type of gift, and now we have to return that favor, and somehow you cannot run from that. If you feel like you are indebted to someone, that you keep running into someone beyond all odds, right? It's beyond all coincidence, it's beyond a statistical outlier, and there's something to be done, there's something you have to do. Check in with your intuition and see what it is. I very much had one of these experiences a few years ago as well. So how do we heal past lives? This is really important, guys. I bring this up in my practice only as a last resort, because people oftentimes use past lives as a means and a way to bypass the difficulties they're currently experiencing, right? So it is important to not get lost in, I was Cleopatra in a past life, I was Abraham Lincoln, da-da-da-da. Past life regressions and understanding past lives, yeah, it can help you come more into your internal power, understanding your soul's purpose, and that you have more gifts and abilities that transcend what you've experienced in this lifetime. But it should never be used as a way to avoid the discomfort of what is going on in your current life. So when we're healing past lives, we have to become aware of the issues that seem to be on repeat and replay that can transcend this current present day life. After that, whether it's an automatic regression, like something we just remember on the spot, right? Or through a past life guided regression from a hypnotherapist, right? A coach or a guided meditation online, right? What we want to do is we want to let go of control. We want to tell the ego to get out of the way. We want to sit back and allow ourselves to enter the subconscious mind and these memories to come up. Basically, when the conscious mind can understand what's happening and have these memories come to the surface, it's able to recognize these memories as occurring in the past and will not be giving signals to the body to be re-experiencing this past life as if it's happening in the present moment. Sometimes these past life memories become stuck, and some people are actually called to work with and heal their past lives more than others, okay? And I have a couple clients who that's very much the case, all right? And so they have to revisit their lives. They have to go into these deep regress states to pull out these memories so they can understand what's happening, why it's happening, and address them in an appropriate manner. Oftentimes, our inner selves or souls don't allow us access to a past life memory until the lesson has kind of been completed, right? It's oftentimes like they're just letting us know, this is why this happened, and this is why this seems so out of the ordinary. You also have to allow yourself to feel the emotions, the unprocessed things that happen in that past life, right? If you had deep shame or deep grief that you were unable to experience, this part of yourself wants to experience these emotions because it wasn't able to process them fully in the past life. So you have to allow these emotions and feelings to run through you while not allowing the mind to attribute it to something currently, right? You have to let it flow through and understand these are feelings that have to be processed, that have to move their way through, and it's likely tied to the experiences of the memories that came up in this regressed state. So this is how you heal past lives. This is what we're talking about with reincarnation. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I look forward to you watching more of my content.